Okay, so before we get to the main content of today's lesson, I want to talk about how to go from fraction to decimal to percent and vice versa. So we have a really nice packet here that gives you in detail how to go from a percent to a decimal or how to go from a decimal to percent. I'm going to show you another example up here. 13%. So you might want to write this in your math journal or on your packet. So 13% as a decimal is 0 and 13 hundredths. Now this in the hundredths place, so that's our denominator. 13 goes on top. Ta-da! Now if I have a decimal 0 and 45 hundredths, boom, boom, 45%. Okay. What if I have 1.12? Well, we got to change that into a percent. 112%. If I have 150% and I want to change it to a decimal, you take that decimal and go the opposite way. So that's going to be 1.50. Okay? So take a moment to read through the key ideas, and then you need to do 1 through 4. When you're done with 1 through 4, you're going to stop. Well, actually, you're going to stop the video in order to do 1 through 4, and then you're going to come check in with Miss Wesley. When you're done checking in with Miss Wesley, come back to the video. So now that you got those 4 questions correct, we're going to move on to the second page. Okay, so this is another example of how to do fraction and decimals. So this part is just a nice quick review. I'm going to remind you need to use long division for all of these first 3 because they cannot be times by anything to get to 100, okay, which is what this example up here was. So once you've had a moment to review the example, I want you to try 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then again, come check in with Miss Wesley. So this is where you're going to stop, check in. All right, now that you've had Miss Wesley talk to you about those 4 examples, you're going to jump down here to the bottom, and you're going to solve these 4. Okay, you're going to write them as a decimal and as a percent. And then you're going to tear off this half page right across here. Tear this off, put your name on it. Then you'll pause this video, go turn this into the bin, and then come back and work on some notes. Okay, now that you've turned in your exit slip, let's get to our notes for today. So we're going to be talking about percent proportions. So that's going to be your title at the top of your notes, percent proportions. So example 1 that we're going to talk about today is what is 25% of 200. So the first thing we're going to do is we recognize that percent. We know what to do with that. We're going to write that percent as a decimal. 0 and 25 hundredths. And so that as a fraction is 25 over 100. So that's almost like having a rate. So we want to know 25% of 200. So is 200 the piece that we're finding, or is it the total? 200 is the total, so it goes on the bottom. Okay, so in your notes you want to make sure you write that the total goes on the bottom. Okay, you write the percent as a fraction, and then your variable, okay, which is the letter that you use to represent what you're trying to find. So your variable, okay, is the amount to find. Okay, so we've got this all labeled. I'm going to rewrite it here. I want you to rewrite it as well. So 25 over 100 equals x over 200. And you're going to say, oh, Miss Wesley, I know what to do there. I know that 100 times 2 is 200. So 25 times 2, I should write that multiplication dot, is 50. So x equals 50. And you are correct. Now, you're not always going to be able to decide what can I multiply by, so you need to know to do cross products. So you need to know how to do, so rewrite this one as well. 25 over 100 equals x over 200. So you need to know that 25 times 200 is 5,000. Because I just did 25 times 2 is 50, and then tacked on those 2 zeros, 5,000. And now I'm going to divide by 100. So 5,000 divided by 100, I'm going to chop off 2 zeros. So x equals 50. So that's how we use cross products to solve for percent. Let's do example 2. So So example 2 says, what is 55% of 125? So we're going to follow the same steps as above, change that percent to a decimal to a fraction. So this is 0.55, which is 55 over 100. And we're trying to find out of the total of 125, so that goes on the bottom. And we're trying to find x. So this is where we're going to use our cross products, okay? So 125 times 55, and that's going to equal 6,875. And then we divide by 100. So divided by 100, and you get the answer of 68.75.